Alright guys, we're struggling with our camera a little bit today, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to have a conversation about my nephew. I was just at my mother-in-law's house doing some work outside, trying to get some stuff cleared up for him so they could do what they need to do. My nephew comes by and he is just, he walks in the door. He's in middle school. He walks in the door and he's obviously having a bad day. So I asked him if he wants to talk about it, because he told me he wasn't having a great day. And kind of sounds like things haven't been super great for him lately, which is a shame because the kid's got a heart of gold. I mean, he is, like, when I was a kid, I got beat up a couple of times. And then after that, I just fought everybody. I mean, I solved my problems with my fist. And I'm not trying to sound cool or badass or anything like that. I had an attitude problem. And he does not have an attitude problem. He's a great kid. He is a great kid. Like, I can't emphasize that enough. He's a fantastic kid. But he's having bully problems a little bit. Some kid that's on his bus is got his own issues and is taking that out on him. They're kids, they're young, they don't really know any better. And as much as I'd like to go beat this kid up, I'm not going to, because that's not the right thing to do either. That's not going to send him the right message. Reciprocating violence is not going to make anything better for anybody. And it didn't help me the first 20 years of my life before I stopped being a pain in the ass. So, anyways, so I'm having this talk with my nephew, and I guess this kid was misunderstanding his intentions. He was talking to a friend of his, and this kid thought maybe he was talking to him, and he did not want him talking to him. Said kid that was having an attitude, and he told him, he said if he said one more word, he was going to slap him. And all he said literally one word, apparently. He said, "Why?" And the kid hits him. And he's not a violent kid. He doesn't strike back. He doesn't lash out. That's not his thing. He's a really nice kid. He's really good at football and baseball, and he just wants to have a good time and enjoy the people he's around, which is great. He's a very family-oriented kid. I can't say enough good things about him. Well, this kid slaps him, and now he's upset, and he's got a couple of tears rolling down his face, and he doesn't know what to do. It just so happens that he showed up at Grandma's house right before I left. Now, Grandma had left already. And he didn't know that. I think he came there to talk to his grandparents about what had happened. So they weren't there, and I was. And I offered the best advice that I could for him. I told him, I said, a lot of times when people lash out at you like that, it's not a you thing. It's not that they're upset with you. They're usually upset with someone else in their life that's not treating them well. And that tends to train people at a young age to not treat other people around them well. And that sucks. That's a big bummer. I'm very careful about how I discipline my daughter. I'm very careful about how I speak to her because of that reason. I don't want her to grow up thinking that the world is a hateful place and that, drop my camera, and that, to get results, you need to lash out. I don't believe in it. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. Well, like I said, so he's telling me all this, and then he tells me that, I guess the other day at school, some kid grabbed him and pushed him into a brick wall, hard enough to dislocate his nose. Like, I guess he had to go to the hospital that night and have his nose relocated, or fixed, put back into place. However, obviously I don't work in the medical field. I have no idea what that's all about. But he had to have something like that done. And it's a bummer that he's getting picked on so much because he's a very well-liked kid. He gets good grades. He respects his mother. He respects his siblings. He's got 3 siblings. He's the oldest. He takes very good care of them. And he likes everyone. He literally doesn't understand why someone would treat him so poorly, because he just likes everyone. And he always gets along with everyone. So I gave him the best advice I could. I'm new at being a dad. My kid's not even old enough to be in school yet. She's only 2.5. But I told him, I said sometimes you can defuse these situations by going and, if this is a school thing or this is happening on the bus, I guess the last incident of him getting slapped today, I guess that happened on the bus. And I said, sometimes the best way to diffuse that situation is to speak to your bus driver and let them know what happened. Because if they don't know what happened, they can't help. They have no idea. You got 40 plus kids on a bus, and they're all causing problems. And some of them are harmless, and some are not. And I said, if you let your bus driver know what's going on, then there's a better chance of them being able to help you out with that, or do anything about it, because they can at least watch the one kid that's hitting other kids. You don't need someone hitting kids on the bus. And I hope to God that he speaks to his bus driver, and I hope that he speaks to his principal. I suggested he also speak to his principal or his vice principal. These are the type of things that they deal with, and a lot of people don't realize that that's what happens. A lot of kids, they don't have any idea what a principal does. Now, the principal's job is to make sure that the faculty and the children are safe. It's their job to make sure that they're functioning well, and they're taking care of each other and being taken care of. And so there's nothing wrong with talking to your principal or your vice principal about what happened. And especially if you know who it is that's giving you this grief, you can just knock on their door and you go and you talk to them. And sometimes it's as simple as you talk to the vice principal, and the vice principal pulls you and said person into their office, and you resolve it before you leave the office. A lot of times these kids, people aren't born mean. These kids are picking up on behavioral issues from, whatever it is. I'm not a professional, but maybe it's television, maybe, their dad plays a lot of video games and they see violence, or maybe they just have an older brother that's kicking their butt every day after they get home from school, and they just kind of learn that stuff. And sometimes it's as simple as having a vice principal act as a mediator, and having a meeting in a controlled situation, a controlled environment where you can talk things out, and maybe that said person really did think that you were insulting them, but they just didn't handle it as well as they could have. And so, next thing you know, you could be, best of friends once you understand each other better. I learned a lot of stuff along those lines when I was in college. I took interpersonal communications. It was one of my courses to get my degree, and I learned a lot of things like that. Communication it's key to relationships, whether it's friends, family, work relationships, or even just people you bump into on the street. For any amount of time, whether it's 5 minutes or 5 years, for any amount of time that you speak with someone, you have a relationship with that person. Even making a little small talk in the elevator on your way to work, or whatever it is you do, you're speaking to that person, and you may get good vibes off of them, or negative vibes, or even just notice that they're not having a great day, and sometimes just giving them a smile and speaking well to them, communicating well, that you're sending off good vibes. Sometimes that'll make their day. That'll change their environment, their day. That will enhance everything that they got going on. I'm rambling a little bit now, but the point is, what I'm saying is, when I was a kid, I thought that if you were bullied, you needed to get stronger so that you could beat up the other kid, and it doesn't really do a whole lot of good. None of the world's problems are solved by having a bigger club than the guy standing next to you. It doesn't really work that way. It seems like it does, but it doesn't. So I explained to him that he could go and speak to the vice principal, and my hope is that he does do that tomorrow, and then he can have a meeting with his vice principal and maybe this other kid, and they can sort out what's going on. Maybe there's differences, maybe he's just getting beat up by his old man or his older brother or whatever at home, but if the kid would have just said that, which obviously he's not old enough to have that concept, but if he would have just said that, like, look, I'm having a bad day, can you stop, speaking at the top of your voice or whatever, my nephew can be kind of loud. Everybody in the family's kind of loud, but including myself. But if he had the information to handle that better, then maybe there wouldn't have been an issue to begin with. So I'm hoping that he goes and speaks with his principal tomorrow, or his vice principal, or somebody that can sit down and mediate and have a meeting and kind of figure out what's going on with all that, so that they can hopefully be friends. I think that even people that you don't particularly want to be around, you can still get to common ground with, and you can respect each other and work together well, or go to school together well without having problems. So anyways, my video today is about bullying and bullies and communicating better to prevent that from happening. I'm not I didn't start this channel with the ideal of lecturing you guys, but I don't know, I just wanted to, I titled it Chef Life and Everything Else. Well, this is part of the everything else. I spend X amount of hours every week cooking. I spend X amount of hours trying to solve problems. I got a lot of nephews, got a lot of nieces, got my kid, my wife. My wife is in college, and I'm just trying to help everybody out as best I can. So I figured I would share this video. Maybe somebody out there also has a family that struggles a little bit in school and all that. I know I struggled in school. School wasn't very cool for me. So anyways, y'all have a good day. I wish everyone the best, and I just want everybody to remember that maybe if we keep a cool head in every situation, and I need to work on this myself, if we keep a cool head in every situation and collect the proper information, then we can control the situation better. I think it was Eric Thomas that said that information changes situations. If you understand how to read the situation better, then both people can come out of the situation maybe a little healthier or a little smarter, or having had some benefit. So information changes situations, and I hope you all are having a good Monday. And that's all I got to talk about right now. I'm going to try to throw another video up as soon as possible. I'm not going to say tonight, because at night when I'm not at work, I always end up getting busy. When I am at work, I'm at work, so I'm not filming a bunch of stuff. But like I said, information changes situations, and hopefully we can all learn better from situations like this to strive and thrive and just be happier and have better situations. I love you guys. I'll see you all later.